What is up, YouTubers? Jersey Joe here, and today we're going to go over my OTK Blaster deck that I took to Houston Spring Fest 2019. The deck is really solid, it's really consistent, it's super underrated. I don't know why a lot of people are using this deck. My only two losses at the event were two back-to-back Bermuda Triangle decks. Now, obviously, if you guys can hear that, that was actually my biggest fear matchup was the Bermuda Triangle deck, only because they hit draw or the PGs like crazy. You have the one deck that can run 6 PGs, and the other player just ran the normal grade 1 PGs, but both players drew all their PGs. Literally, first player opening hand drew 3 out of 6 PG. The other guy had the first PG opening hand, he had a G assist, and then drove check 2 more PGs. And that's the only way this deck can die. It's literally called PG or GG for a reason. But anyways, enough about that. I'm currently working on my regional deck regional vlog. So that's going. So why not? Let's go ahead and let's get back to the table here and let's talk about that beautiful OTK Blaster deck. All right, so here we are at the desk. Let's go ahead and look at this deck, shall we? We're going to start off with Wingo Brave. Wingo Brave is our starter. Kind of makes sense since we are running a full Blaster deck. Wingo Brave skills: when it hits, that's boosting a Blaster unit. You can put in a soul and search for any Blaster add to your hand. Mainly, I use this to get me Messianic to hand. Obviously, that's a key card, and pretty much as long as you have Messianic in your hand, you're pretty much set. Normally, I don't like giving my opponents damage, so I would, if they call rear guard, I would just swing at the rear guard, because the point of the deck is to keep them at 0 to 1 damage, because you want to control the game as you're going for the OTK. But other than that, like Wingo Brave's not needed. Like when I was fighting against decks like Gridora or Nubatama, I would never use this. If they didn't call another rear guard, I would just pass turn. Giving them no counterblast, especially with those two decks. Decks like Gridora, counterblast 1, stuns one of my columns. Normally it's effective. If I go first, I don't care, because if I'm going first, I'm going to ride grade 3 before they can ride grade 3. Means I can come on my field and Gridora stunning me doesn't matter anymore. But against Nubatama, that counterblast can turn into a Rene turn, and a Rene turn is really stupid. So if I keep them at 0 damage, they can't countercharge, they can't use Rene, they can't dominate, and essentially the deck becomes useless. And we're going to move to the triggers. We are running 6 crits, and the reason why we're doing 6 crit over 12 draw is mainly for guard value. Now, running 12 draw sounds nice in this deck. You want to draw all your key Blaster cards, you want to draw all the different names, but you lose guard value, and you lose pressure. I've tried it multiple times, and it just didn't work out for me. So, like, the draw's good. You know the guard value because they're all 5Ks, and the only 10Ks you have in your hand are your grade 1s, and the 20K are your heals if you have a heal in your hand. So I swapped to the 6 crit mainly for the guard value, because these are V series crits, so they have the 15K guard value, which is great for not only protecting yourself but protecting your rear guards. Because if they realize what kind of deck you're using, they're going to try to attack your rears, try to eliminate your blaster count. So you need to protect your blasters. And also it works out for if they do no guard and you check a critical trigger, you're now hitting them for 7 damage, which makes it nearly impossible to miracle heal. And since we are doing a 6 crit, we are doing 6 draw, because draw is still really good in this deck. You still want to draw everything, just not a lot. So I think 6/6 is really effective in this build. You get both, you get your pressure and you get your guard value, but you do want to see your draw triggers early, because you don't really care about hitting triggers. You don't want to see triggers really at all. So you only want to see triggers early game just to draw your key components. And then we are running 3 draw PGs, and I'll show you why in a second. But just to wrap up the... Oh, sorry. Here's a 6. Oops, there it is. So yeah, we are not 5. We are running 6 draw. And then 4 heal, because 4 heals, 20k shields, and for G guards. And this is why we are running just 3 draw PGs. We are running 1 Seeker Perfect Guard. This can really be any Perfect Guard. This is the only one I had lying around. It's just because it's a vanilla Perfect Guard, grade 1. And it's key factor for Marin, because Marin's skill is that you can search your deck for a grade 2 or less, or grade 1 or greater. Essentially, this is good for those scenarios where they hit you for a big number, you don't have the guard in your hand, or they hit you with a guard restrict where you can't guard from hand. You can G-Guard, Soul Blast 1, target this, put in the guard circle, discard, you still Perfect Guard. Since it's an all Perfect Guard, it's not a G error Perfect Guard, so it doesn't have to be from hand, and it's not a grade 0, which works with Marin, because Marin only works with grade 1s or greater. And now we're going to start the blasters. So we're running 2 Blaster Rapier Laura. She does have resist, which is really good. 3 Blaster Dagger. He gives all blasters boost, so it doesn't matter grade. So you call some grade 2s in the back row, they can boost. 3 Javelin, this is one of my favorite units from this set, mainly because he gets +2 when he boosts, making him a 10k booster. And when he boosts, you can bind one of your opponent's front row. And 3 Blaster Bargle. Moving on to the grade 2s. Oop, hit the camera. 1 Blaster Axe. 2 Blaster Blade V-Series. 2 Blaster Blade Seeker. 2 Blaster Blade Spirit. 2 Blaster Rapier. Blaster Rapier is really good. She has a 25k beat stick on her own. And then when she attacks, if you have a Blaster or Arc-Zero Vanguard, you can look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or bottom. Really great for stacking the blasters in case you didn't draw them. 3 Blaster Dark V-Series for Twin Drive. And 3 Blaster Arrow. Blaster Arrow, I was running at 2. I put her at 3 because she is essentially a really key card to have in your field because she gives everyone, including your Vanguard, resist. Alright, grade 3 lineup. 1 Emerald Majesty Lord Blaster. 1 Blaster Lu. 1 Blaster Blade Exceed. And of course, 3 Messianic Lord Blaster. Messianic Lord Blaster is pretty much the OTK of this deck because of his skill alone. During your turn, if you have 6 units with Blaster and their different card names, this unit gets original power and critical of your rear guards. So on his own, depending what you call, you can get up to 79 crit 6 minimum. That's why it's good. So you basically just stall, you don't stall the game. You pretty much just ride as normal. You don't do much. You try to minimal the attacks you have. So you don't want to attack your opponent too much. The only time you want to attack your opponent is mainly to get Wingle off, to get this guy in your hand. So keep them to 1-0 damage. Then you ride him. You give him the force marker. You're swinging for 79 crit 6. They either PG or it's GG. Simple as that. And that's why the crits are helpful, because with that 0 damage, they're taking exactly 6. They have a good chance of healing out. They have 1 damage, chance of hitting him out. They have the double heal now. And this is why when I was playing against, I would eat damage, because the higher damage I'm at, the less chance they have of healing out. But this card is just really good. It's really great in premium. Standard, he's just not that great, because secondary skill is when he dry check reveals a blaster in his card name, you may call it to an open rear. That's why his skill is really good for premium. So if you didn't somehow open up your hand with all blasters, you still have a chance of getting your full field blasters, since the first skill is a continuous. The only downside is that it has to call it open. I feel like at least in the standard aspect, if this guy on swing just called a blaster to a rear so he can call over something, I think he'd be really good. So now essentially you can swing 1 column here, swing the Vanguard, check check Blaster Arrow, and then check a Blaster Dagger. You essentially just get a full column for free, which I could see why, but I think this deck needed that, because on its own, this deck is not that great. I've been testing it in the standard aspect. He's just not that, he doesn't have enough pressure, but in premium, he's just broken. Like I said, you just swing for 6 crit, and then you leave your opponent at 1-0 damage, just so you can control the game. But now really quick, let's go over that G-Zone. It's really simple. All we're doing is running 2 Assaults, because on her own, she's a 53k shield. 2 Marins for the Perfect Guard. And as you just saw, we're running 2 Dismal to protect your rear guards. That's all I ran at Regionals. It's just 6 G-Guards. Because that's all you need. You're not striding this deck, because what stride outbeats this? Sure, you can go Ganslot, get a quad drive, but you're giving your opponent damage, and you're taking out a turn that you can swing for game. Where you can just, even if your opponent goes first, you can still ride this, give the force marker, you're swinging for game. I won majority of my games because of this card. My only 2 losses were back-to-back Bermuda Triangles, round 4 and round 5. Anyways, this is my deck profile for the OTK Messianic Lord Blasters. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe and watch some more videos. Like and post a comment, thought the video was awesome down. Follow me on all social media sites. This is Jersey Joe, and signing out.